Sony has proven that they are just demolishing Microsoft in the console wars. And the response we've seen from Microsoft is not to directly compete with Sony, but instead to work on this blending of their platforms. Microsoft owns, in some ways, the PC market because with Windows, that's really seen as the only avenue for gamers who want PCs. They have to get a Windows computer. That's just how it is. You're not buying a Mac to game. And so what they're trying to do is they're trying to create this one platform thing where they blend the two, where they make it so any game you buy on the Xbox, you can buy or you can play on PC and vice versa. But you have to have bought it through their whatever Windows service. Whatever it is. Now, that's a lofty thing to do. If they can get Steam to somehow support it or get a deal with Steam so they take like 20% of each sale for the, Xbox compatible games or whatever, that could be interesting. I'm not sure if Steam would do that, but that could be interesting. In which case, maybe they could catch up in some ways. But here's the thing, if somebody has a PC there that they can play all these Xbox exclusives, why would they bother pulling out the Xbox or going in the living room and doing it when they could just stream or set up a PC next to the TV if they're really that concerned about it? Like, it's not even, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And they say that they strongly believe this is where gaming is heading. A unified platform where you do all this, but I think they misunderstand PC gamers as a whole. Most PC gamers, the only reason they would consider getting a console is so that they could play the games that they couldn't on PC. The exclusives. Games like Uncharted 4, like God of War, like The Last of Us Part 2. Games like these that look incredible, that are incredible, that are super fun. But Microsoft, once they take away those exclusives, there's no reason to really go at it. There's no reason to really pursue it because it's just, it's all one thing. I mean, it's kind of stupid. It's like people who don't have a 4K TV who would see no improvement in improving from the PS4 to PS4 Pro. It would be the same thing. It's the same product basically, and expecting them to buy a PS4 Pro because it's all unified, because you can play the same games across it. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But nonetheless, that's what Microsoft believes. And I think it's an example of them kind of faltering and realizing that they're in trouble. And they might be, in the words of Princess Diana, completely and utterly screwed. That's not a real quote, just in case you were wondering. But nonetheless, Sony has completely won the console war. Completely. I'm not even sure if they can lose at this point. I'm not even sure. The only way they could lose is if they pull a Microsoft and get so uppity about it that they just start all these anti-consumer policies and say, well, no, you need to be connected all the time. We released this new, giant whatever hat that you have to wear, or like you have to buy a PS4, like PSVR. You have to buy that with your console. You can't buy a new console without it, or your PS4 won't work unless you have one plugged in. That's basically the equivalent of what Microsoft was doing with the Kinect, albeit a little more expensive, but nonetheless, that's what they were doing essentially. And if Sony starts to do something like that to push another product, then they're going to have the potential to lose customers as a result of it. I know I would get frustrated if they said, you got to go spend $600-$700 on another product to use the one you already have. That would be I'm not going to say problematic because that's a word I hate more than life itself. It's horrendous. Don't use the word problematic. Losers use the word problematic. If you can't express what you're actually trying to say, you say that's really problematic. It's a word for weak people. But with that said, it's problematic. No, I'm kidding. We'll stop there. But what I want to just, my point being, Sony has won the console war. And so I haven't talked to anybody in the past year that when they say, yeah, I'm thinking of getting a console, I'm like, oh, which one? I haven't heard a single person say Xbox. Not a single person. And I live and breathe gaming. Basically, the only thing I talk to people about is gaming. And I haven't come across a single person that's going to get an Xbox. And I'm sure it's reflected in their sales numbers. I'm sure of it. It's why they're really relying on Scorpio. We'll see how that turns out. If it can really push out some amazing graphics, I might revise my claim. And if it's a PC competitor, we'll see. But I doubt it. I'm open-minded, though. We'll see what happens. Hey, did you like that? Well, that was just an extra of the full show that I do every single weekend. So if you haven't seen it yet, then you got to make sure to check it out. Links popping up everywhere in the description box as well. And subscribe if you haven't already to become a member of the Bowel Movement.